I honestly don't know why I keep doing these post-game videos for the rest of the season when there really isn't anything to be playing for if you're the Bulls. I didn't do a post-game video the other night against the Spurs because there wasn't really much worth noting outside of Wemby just looking like an absolute specimen with how dominant he is on a nightly basis. And then, in this game against the Pacers tonight, really, there was nothing good to take away from this game. I mean, outside of the Bulls losing it, and what maybe would have been thought of to be a win playing against the worst team in the league who only had 17 wins on the season going into tonight. So yes, key tank loss, especially considering the Bucks won last night, but they lost tonight against the Rockets. But a loss for the Bulls keeps them a full game ahead of the Bucks in the tank standings. But outside of that, can't really say there was anything positive to take away from this game, either at an individual level or signs of growth from the team. Because look, as much as you want to see losses pile up, given the Bulls have already been eliminated from the postseason, and so why win meaningless games in a lost year? But at the same time, you want to see some silver linings, glimmers of hope in these losses. And yes, we've seen some of that in these post-deadline losses from the Bulls, but not tonight. I mean, you give up 83 points in the first half to the Indiana Pacers, the worst team in the league. That was the second most in franchise history in terms of points allowed in a half by the Bulls. I know they were without Josh Giddey. They're still without all their guys who didn't play in the last couple of games. And beyond that, no Nick Richards, still no Anthony Simons, no Jalen Smith. Bulls had to play guys like Yuki and Mac McClung as part of their rotation. Like, yes, they were really scrapping at the bottom of the barrel, and this is really to be expected from a team tanking towards the end of the season. But I mean, you would have at least expected the game to be somewhat competitive. You would have at least liked to see big games from Modest Bucelis or Rob Dillingham or Leonard Miller. Hell, I would have even taken a zero pressure good game from Patrick Williams, something positive even in a loss. Nope, none of that, especially for Patrick Williams, who we'll talk about in a second. I mean, Modest was okay, and had he played the whole game and not sat most of the fourth quarter because the game was over early, I'm sure some of his scoring numbers would have been a bit higher. But even Modest, at a lot of times during this game, looked disengaged, not locked in on defense, some bad turnovers. I mean, I'm sure it's hard to stay engaged and want to play hard when the Bulls are in the position that they're in. Again, the risks you take with tanking and the impact that it has on your current players. But even still, with no Josh Giddey, I really thought Modest was going to go off for 30 plus points tonight. But Pascal Siakam being in the lineup was a tough matchup for Modest, really on both ends of the floor. That said, Modest still managed to finish with 17 points on 5 for 11 shooting. He was 3 for 7 from outside, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals, but also had 4 turnovers, which really killed the Bulls once again. Just the sheer number of turnovers, and the Pacers capitalizing on said turnovers, scoring 32 points off of the Bulls' 20 turnovers in total. Leonard Miller was much quieter this game, really until the fourth quarter when it was already garbage time. Didn't have a single field goal until the fourth, and then finally started getting more aggressive, getting into the basket. And then Rob Dillingham, okay, he had some nice drives to the basket towards the end of the game, showed off some of his shooting in the first half, hitting a couple threes, but he's still very much out of control. A lot of the times when he's trying to get downhill and doesn't know what to do with the ball when he gets within 5 feet of the hoop. And then on defense, I mean, it's more than just the fact that he's small, so it makes it more challenging for him to defend when he's being targeted all the time by offenses. But he also just doesn't make the right reads on defense. He'll overcommit on a steal and then gets blown by his man. I mean, I shouldn't really harp on Rob Dillingham and his defense and single him out for this game when the entire team was absolutely atrocious on that end of the floor. The Pacers had 49 assists in this game. They were able to move the ball so easily, with the Bulls constantly finding themselves out of position, not closing out shots. I mean, the Pacers are 27th in the league on offense this season. 27th, they average 112 points per game, which is also 27th in the NBA. And the Bulls gave up 145 points to this team in regulation, 83 points once again in the first half alone. The Bulls made the Pacers look like the team we saw last year, which was one of the best offensive teams in the league. Bulls shot the ball poorly, 33% from 3, only 22 assists to their 20 turnovers. Again, I know you don't have Josh Giddey, who is really the engine that keeps the offense running, but man, you would have still expected a better performance when you're going up against the Pacers, a team that has now swept you on the season. 18 total wins for the Indiana Pacers, 4 of them have come to the Bulls. And I know some will say, well, it wasn't all that bad, right? Sexton and Trey Jones had solid games. Like, no, man, that's not what the rest of the season is about. We don't even know if Sexton is still going to be with this team next year. seeing quote-unquote older guys, even though they're not old, but seeing these older veteran-type players having good performances from here on out for the rest of the season does not matter for this team. Yeah, shout out to Sexton and Jones, who are the most efficient offensive players in the game, but it's not like it really moved the needle or anything for this team and how they played in this game. And then, my God, Patrick Williams, he's just no longer an NBA level player. Like, legitimately, I don't even say that because I know we all like to clown Patrick Williams. I'm actually dead serious that the only reason he's still in the NBA right now is because he's under contract and will be for the next 3 seasons after this, which is absolutely insane to think about. But if he was playing on an expiring contract, I don't think he would get picked up by any team as a free agent, and he would have to play somewhere overseas. He's just been that bad. Can't shoot anymore, which was one of his saving graces, was that he could be somewhat of a reliable three-point shooter. Isn't that great on defense anymore. Again, another one of his strengths, but that's no longer the case. Constantly turns the ball over when he's making a drive. 0 points tonight. 0 for 4 from deep. Pathetic performance by Patrick Williams in a game that really was kind of tailor-made to him with all these guys being out and zero pressure to win a game. You would have at least expected a decent game from Patrick Williams. And then, the Bulls, they're stuck with him. They're stuck with him because no one is taking on that contract even as a salary dump. Man, I don't even know if any team would take on his contract if the Bulls attached picks to it. It's just that bad. Also, random side note here, but the Pacers winning tonight actually puts them tied with the Nets for the 3rd worst record in the NBA, which means there is a world where the pick can now potentially fall all the way to number 7, whereas the floor would be the number 5 pick if they finish with the worst record. Everyone keeps talking about how the Pacers are going to be loaded next season because not only are they getting Haliburton back, but they're also set up to get a top pick. There's actually a 47% chance, as of right now, of that pick falling outside of the top 4, which means the pick would go to the LA Clippers as part of the trade they made for Zubac. I like Zubac, but imagine if that pick falls to number 5. Giving up the number 5 pick in this draft for Zubac, not to mention the fact that they included Mathurin and another future pick in that deal as well. So yeah, they better hope luck falls their way because Siakam going to be a year older. Haliburton, who knows how he's going to return coming back off a major injury. Losing Miles Turner coming off of that finals run in this past offseason. And yeah, they're getting Zubac, but he's also going to be 30 years old. People talking about how they're easily going to be contenders in the East next season. I wouldn't be too sure if that pick doesn't land in the top 4. Anyway, a bit of a tangent there. Bulls lose, get swept by the Pacers. I can't wait for this season to be over. Let me know what you guys thought of this game. Let me know in the comments. As always, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.